Hey, what's going on? This is Jerry at Wealth Dynamics. I want to welcome everybody to our Friday night wealth creation course. If you guys are watching, we're here on Zoom, we're here on Facebook, we're here on Instagram. It's good to see everybody. If you guys are on Instagram, you'll see my green screen behind me. But guys, we're going to be talking about a very important topic tonight. So, in context, today is Black Friday. Okay, which means a lot of us just went out and shopped. Okay, we went out and shopped, or we shopped online, and what that does is it takes income out of our pockets and it gives it to institutions. Okay, and so what I want to talk about tonight is I want to talk about how do we earn money, because if you look around us, like the statistics that I've been seeing lately are consumer confidence is dropping when it comes to the economy. Americans are not as confident in the economy anymore. Okay. People are starting to dip into their savings to stay afloat. We haven't had a round of government stimulus in quite a while, right? The average income is stagnant. Okay, the top 1%, they made another $100 billion this year, but that didn't pass through to the average person. Now, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Jerry Fetta. I'm the owner and founder of Wealth Dynamics, and I am, somebody that grew up as the average person. Wasn't rich, didn't go to college, didn't have wealthy parents, didn't inherit anything, never had any good luck with money. And so I had to really bootleg up to the point where now I have a multi-million-dollar business. I'm an accredited investor, which means I'm $1 million net worth. I'm 28 years old. I've been able to do all this, and I'm going to do a whole lot more. But from the time I started becoming interested in money to now, okay, having financial success, there was a lot that I had to learn. And so I do these courses every single week to pass on the knowledge that I've learned. Okay, things that I've been able to learn. And the reason why is because when I got interested in money, nobody taught me about it. And when I started asking, I started getting wrong information, which I didn't know was wrong information. Okay, I didn't know it was wrong information till I applied it long enough to realize it wasn't working. Okay, who's ever experienced that? You're like, man, I've been doing this and it's going to pay off at some point. And if I keep grinding and I keep my head down, I've just got to be patient. No, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's just not the right information. And no matter how hard you work and no matter how hard you grind, it's not going to improve because it's the wrong information. It's the definition of trying to apply a hammer to a screw. So I was doing that. And then once I started realizing like, oh, this thing is a screw, I'm supposed to spin it. Okay, that's when my finances started to improve drastically. Okay, so what we're going to talk about tonight is we're going to talk about how to increase income. Now, I'm going to share with you what I've done. Okay, there's tons of people on this topic. If you go online, you'll see freaking everybody from Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone and Robert Kiyosaki and Tai Lopez, and everybody and their cousin talks about how to earn more income. And I'm sure they know how to, but I'm going to tell you, this is my message. This is how I have done it. Okay, this is not what you heard other people talk about. So part of what we're going to share tonight is from my book. So this is my book. It's called How to Create Wealth by me, by Jerry Fetta. And we're going to be talking about a segment in this book that I cover on how to create more income. The reason I share this on and show this to you guys, some of you guys are clients and you have this. If you have it, you can follow along. I highlighted some of the areas that we're going to cover, and you could definitely follow along so that we're on the same page. If you don't have it, you can get a free copy of it. Let me fix my lighting real quick. You can get a free copy of it if you go to jerryfetta.com. Again, that's jerryfetta.com. You can get a free copy of it. You do have to cover your own shipping. Other than that, though, like that's all up to you to get that copy and start applying it. But if you have it with you, what I'm saying is that's what we're going to cover today. Okay. And so I want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to follow along. That's much better on the lighting. I want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to follow along. So before we dive into things, a couple of ground rules we cover every single week. So we're talking about money, how to create wealth. That entails money. Money can be a complex topic, a confusing topic. I had a couple of clients this week that were like, man, we know everything. It's so basic, all the stuff you cover. Well, if you know everything, then why aren't you there yet? Right? Like if I know everything, why am I not already there yet? And so what happens with finances is it's a very basic topic. And basically what happens is it's so basic, everyone could win with it. Those that are trying to stay on top make it more complex. They're the ones that create all the fancy definitions and the terminology, and they write all the curriculums for, life insurance and mortgages and investments. And it's not because money is actually that complex. It's because they're trying to create a barrier to entry. And so unfortunately, two things happen. One group of people, which, usually can go learn, I say learn, but really just memorize and regurgitate the new, more complex and complicated information. They do that. And then they think they're smart, but they can't apply any of the things they just learned. I used to be that, okay, because I passed all of these investment exams. The other group looks at it and they're like, dude, I have no idea what this means. And then they just assume that they're dumb. They're like, yeah, I'm never going to get this money stuff. It's too complex. It's too complicated. As soon as someone starts talking about it, it goes over my head. So whenever I speak, and this is my main rule, if I say something that makes you feel like you're lacking in understanding, I want you to ask questions. Okay, wealth is simple. Wealth is simple. It doesn't mean that it's easy, but it means that it's simple. So if you feel like something I've said at any point during our course tonight is not simple, I want you to stop and ask. Okay. The other thing is, at any point you feel like I already know this, or we've gone over this before, or this is basic, realize that means by definition there's something you don't understand. Okay, because think about it. If I really get something, then I don't have any riff on it when somebody goes over it again. Like if I'm good at being married and someone's like, hey, let me cover the fundamentals of being married, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I don't want to listen to that. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I agree with that. I can always improve. I love my marriage. Right. But if I'm like, oh, I don't want to listen to that, it means that I'm not good at it. And I don't know how to confront that I'm not good at it, other than just saying I already know it. Right. So that's the second thing. Third, leave your messages in the comments. We will answer them. If they're pertaining to finances, Instagram, I'm talking to you, you guys come up with some weird comments. So if you have questions that are about finances, leave them in the comments. We will cover them. And then lastly, only positivity on this stream. This is not the time for criticism. This is not the time to make fun of people. This is not the time to be inappropriate or gross or rude or any of that stuff. You've probably got plenty of opportunity to do that elsewhere. This is for people that want to learn about money. So respect that, be respectful, be engaged, ask your questions. But we're going to talk tonight about income. Okay. Now, what I want to hit on this topic is the end of the day, income comes from applying. Okay. So I want to preface this with, for me, let me share with you what my experience was. I was delivering a pizza job. That was my job for several years. This was 17, 18, 19, maybe even to my 21st year. $1,500 and, somewhere in that range. And it was not something that I enjoyed doing. I didn't like going to that job. I wanted to increase my income, but it was a job where I literally couldn't. Okay. I literally couldn't increase that. Like, you can only work so many hours, and then a lot of it's reliant on tips. So when I was delivering pizza, I shut off the idea of earning more income. I was like, this is not what this job is for. I need to get out of here. Okay. But I'd been there for so long that it wasn't real to me that I could leave. Okay. Who's ever been there where you were working a job that you knew it was a dead end? You knew you didn't like it. You knew you couldn't earn more there, but you'd been there so long that it was too hard to leave. Like, the idea of leaving caused me anxiety, and it caused me to wonder and fear and be in worry, because I was like, man, I hate this job, but I don't think I can get into anything else. Okay. But I knew that I needed to earn more income. Now, for me at this point in time, part of my story is I knew that I needed more income. Someone says I currently am in that position. So you totally can relate to this, but I knew I needed to earn more income, not because of my wealth goals. Cause to be honest, at that point, I didn't have any. I knew I needed to earn more income because I wasn't surviving financially. Okay. I was married. We were hardly covering our rent. Okay. We were behind on our phone payment. We were behind on our insurance. We were barely covering the car payment. Right. So that was how I knew. I was like, man, there has to be a way to earn more income. Okay. Now, I didn't go to college. I want to also preface with that. I didn't go to school. Okay. I graduated high school. I didn't go to college. I had no desire for it. I hated school. I wasn't about to go do more. And I was always a common sense guy, right? I was like, wait, so you're telling me that I'm going to learn how to be a professional at something by someone who's never done it before. They've only read books about it, and they're just going to regurgitate to me what they learned. And I'm going to pay you 20 or 30 or 40 grand for that? I don't think so. So school was off the table for me. So I didn't have higher education where I could go earn more income that way. Okay. Part of my story is I never went to school. I didn't ever end up going. Okay. But at the age of 28, I've managed to be in the top 1% of income earners in the country because of what I'm about to share with you tonight. Okay. So my story is, as I started to get enough disdain for the pizza job, I added a side hustle. And that's part of what we're going to talk about tonight is when to do that. When is that appropriate? How do you do that? Because I know some people that they make a good cushy salary, but there's no upward mobility, right? So when do I add a side hustle? So I ended up adding a side hustle, stayed with that for several years, stayed with the pizza job for several years. And finally, I got to the point where something clicked and I was able to jump into my business full time. Okay, so I want to go over all of that tonight, but I want to share that backstory with you so that you know I didn't start with a business. Okay, I didn't know anything about sales. I didn't know anything about marketing. I did not have a college degree. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have parents or siblings or relatives or friends that were in business that showed me how to do it successfully. I was kind of just figuring it out on my own. Okay. And the reason I wrote this book, How to Create Wealth, is because I've learned how to. And so how is like, this is the steps that we take. So if you're following along, what I want to do is I want to read a little bit from the book, and then I want to give you guys some practical examples and talk about how this applies. So if you have the book, this is page 14. Page 14. The chapter is called Earn More Income. Okay, Earn More Income. If you guys are on Instagram, that's my chapter. So we're going to go over some stuff here on this chapter. So this starts out with where we left off last week. So if you were on this feed last week, we talked about if you're trying to become financially free, what do you need to do to understand the math on how to get there? And we backed the math out and we figured out, on just an arbitrary number. We said, if I want to make 10 grand a month, then I would have to have, a certain amount of money invested. I would have to have, a certain amount of money saved. And based on how much I would have to save, I would have to earn a certain amount too. And last week we just were working with, I think, 10 grand a month. And we decided, all right, at 10 grand a month, that's $120,000 a year. I would need $1.2 million invested. And then we said, I might need 400 or 500 grand saved. And if I'm saving 40% of my income, then I would need to earn $2 million. Okay. That's where we ended last week. This week, we're going to pick up where I picked up, which was, okay, how the hell am I going to earn $2 million? Right? Because if I could do it, I would have already. Like, if I haven't already done that, then it's something that I would have already figured out. So what I said here in the book, this is on chapter 4, page 14. If you've done the math on getting wealthy, your first realization is that you don't have the money required to achieve your wealth targets. That is a normal phenomenon. So any one of my clients has gone through this. We have this thing called the triangle of wealth. We show you how much you need to have invested to earn a certain amount of passive income so that you can be free. Based on that number, what do you need to have saved? Based on that number, what do you need to have earned? What usually happens is people look at it and there's no way I'm going to earn that number. It's such a big number. Okay. That is a normal experience. That's what I experienced. I wrote this in my book years ago, guys. So if you've done the math on getting wealthy, your first realization is that you don't have the money required to achieve your wealth targets. It is plain as day. Now, here's the difference. There's two types of people here. Okay. Most people go into scarcity mode at this point and quit. That's type number one. Okay. Initially, I was type number one. So I'm not even saying like, oh yeah, be the type number 2 where you have no considerations and no doubts and no worries and you just know it's going to happen. No. Even I was like, okay, this is not real. And I went into apathy on it and I quit on it for a temporary period of time until it was bad enough where I was like, hey, I have to pick this goal back up again. Right. So that was part of my story. Is I was one of those people that was like, hey, there's no way that I can hit this number. Let me fix my light one more time here. There we go. So I was one of those people that was like, hey, I don't think I'm going to make it. So these are people that go into scarcity and quit. They think in terms of what they have instead of what they can create. I want to repeat this. These people, they go into scarcity because they think in terms of what they have rather than what they create. Okay. Create means to bring forth into existence. So when I was at the pizza job, I was thinking in terms of what I have. I have $2 grand a month coming in. I have 40 hours a week. I have, just very specific things. And I wasn't thinking about what could I create. So again, I went into scarcity mode. So to move on this, to build wealth, you must always be thinking about what you can create. In this case, it is income. You must create income. Now, this is important because for me, no one ever talked about income. Income was taboo. It was greedy. I was in a very religious household. So it was the root of all evil. It was the reason why the wealthy man couldn't go to heaven. Like, it was all of these things that I wasn't supposed to have. So on the topic of income, like, again, I'm going to whiteboard some of this out. If you guys are on Zoom or on Instagram, by the way, Instagram does not connect with Zoom. So this main webinar is on Zoom. So I'm going to be doing some screen sharing. If you guys are on Instagram and you can't see the Zoom, go to my Facebook instead. Okay. If you go to Jerry Fetta, just at Facebook, you'll find me. I'm doing the live there. You can see the Zoom screen on that instead of on Instagram. So again, when we talk about income, we have income as a goal. And for me, I had money is the root of all evil. That was a reason why I couldn't get income. Okay, I had the camel can't get through the eye of a needle. That was another reason I couldn't earn income. I had money is greedy, couldn't earn income. I had all this stuff that I had built up that basically for me mentally crossed out the idea of earning income. All of this false data, reasons why I shouldn't, reasons why I couldn't. And so when I was supposed to then go earn income, I had all of this counter intention against it. Okay. Now, unfortunately, all of that stuff prevented me from earning more income. So I had to then look at, okay, well, like, what are these statements true? Is this actually something that applies and works? I had to realize, like, for me, all of this stuff was religious. It's things that I learned in church from people that had good intentions but bad information, and it wasn't true. And I can even point out where in the places they found it, where they missed it. Okay. But here's the thing. So this goes on to say, this is again, page 14, how to create wealth. I'm going to be upfront with you. You must know how to sell. So not only, and let me show you why this was such an issue. Not only did I have to go earn income, which was taboo, I also had to sell, which was even worse. Okay. Because I learned nobody likes a salesman. Don't be a used car salesman. Salespeople are pesky. Selling is unethical. Selling is slimy. Selling is greasy. You don't want to sell. Even in the sales world, people will say, I don't want to sell. They'll say they're consultants instead of salespeople. They'll say they're agents instead of salespeople. Okay. So I had two things to overcome. Income in and of itself was a dirty word. Selling was an even worse word. Nothing biblical or spiritual or religious about selling. I just knew nobody likes salespeople. So I was like, okay, you're telling me if I've got to earn income, I've got to earn income, which is already bad. And then I've also got to sell. Okay. These are barriers that again, are things that cause people to stop. It causes people not even to start to try and earn income. Okay. So I want to simplify this. Remember at the beginning of this stream, what I said that money is simple. Anytime it seems difficult or it seems complex, it is simply because somebody made it that way to create a barrier to entry. Okay. So instead of income, I want to simplify this for you guys. Instead of income, I want to just say get things. How do I get things? Income is a thing. I'm trying to get it. How do I get things? Okay. So that's what I'm looking at here. And then the other thing with sell, I want to change that to exchange. Okay. Because these are concepts that I've known since I was a kid. How do I get things? That's income. Okay. If I get things, I get a pen. It's now coming to me. And then how do I exchange? That's selling. I exchange, and that's how I get things. Right. So when I think about it like that, and I don't think about income and then tie in all these negative connotations about income and money and camels and heaven and hell and greedy and all of this stuff, is just how do I get things? Okay. I have to get lots of green paper things so that I can invest those green paper things so that I can be financially free. In order to get these things, I've got to exchange. I've got to figure out, what does someone else want? Now, I had a client today. He emailed me. I sent out my alert for our course today, and he's like, looking for the secret to income. He's like, I hope it's not just selling, bro. It is about selling. I'm gonna go into some more, but it's totally about selling. Again, if there's basic concepts that somebody disagrees with, it means there's something they don't understand in the basic concept. Right. So if I say exchange, let's say you say exchange and I'm like, oh, not exchange, then there's something I don't understand about exchanging. If you say get things and I'm like, oh, no, not getting things, then there's something I don't understand about getting things. Otherwise, I wouldn't be in disagreement with it. People only disagree with the things that they don't understand. Right. So in order for me to increase my income, I've got to sell. I've got to exchange with others. Now, in order to exchange with others, I have to understand two things here. So I've got to understand supply and demand. Okay. So supply and demand. This is like what economics boils down to. Like the function of money in a society boils down to supply and demand. Okay. Supply means people are bringing things to the table, and demand means those things are wanted and needed. That's simple, right? Like one group of people wants something, the other group of people brings that thing, and then they trade, and then money goes into their hands, right? That's all it comes down to. Okay. So if I'm thinking about income and I'm thinking about getting things, I have demand. I want something, right? I have the desire to have something. So I'm on the demand side. Realize the demand side is now the consumer. The demand is not the producer. The consumer. Who's ever heard beggars can't be choosers? If I want something, cool. How does it feel to want something? Right? I mean that's what it comes down to. What am I going to do in order to get that? Someone has to supply it. There has to be another side to the equation, because if there wasn't, then I would already have the thing and it wouldn't be in demand for me anymore. Okay? Like if I wanted a house, I'm not going to want a house if I already have it. If I want I love gold, right? If I wanted gold, I'm not going to want gold if I already have the gold. Right? There's something missing, there's a void there. So I have to then, if I want something, for us, the something is financial freedom. Okay, and it happens in various stages: freedom from debt, freedom from insolvency, freedom from a number of things, right? But we're talking about in general. If I want financial freedom, then I'm going to have to realize I'm currently the demand side, meaning somebody has to supply me with that freedom. Okay, so in order for them to supply me with that freedom, there has to be exchange. We talked about the sales thing, getting things, exchanging, trading, right? Now, here's the kicker. In order for that to happen, I've got to flip. I've got to go from the demand side to the supply side. If I want something and they're going to help supply it, in order for me to get what they want, I have to figure out, or in order for me to get what I want, I have to figure out what they want. Zig Ziglar said this decades ago. If you help enough other people get what they want, you'll have everything in the world you want. That's how this works. Okay. So I'm in demand. I'm saying I want financial freedom. I want to earn more money. I want more income. I want to pay off my debt. I want to save. I want to invest. I no longer want to trade time for money. Great. So does everybody. 100% of the population wants that, yet 1% has it. What is the difference? Okay. So I want this. I have other people that are going to supply it. So in order to figure this equation out, I have to realize if I'm trying to get this from them, what would I have to give them to get it? Because I can't just steal it, right? I can't just steal it. I have to actually exchange. That's the sales piece. If I'm not exchanging with somebody, then I'm not going to have the income. So I figure out what do they want and need. By figuring out what they want and need, now I can exchange for it and get what I want and need. Okay, this is an entire cycle, and I continue doing that over and over and over and over and over. Now, here's the thing. We were never taught this. Growing up, we were never taught this. We were taught, go to school, right? No employer has ever told me that my high school diploma was valuable. They didn't tell me it wasn't, but I was never hired because of a high school diploma. I've never won a client because I finished high school. I've never had a client care that I didn't go to college. So think about when we think earning income, the first thing we were taught is school. Okay, but we're again in the supply and demand range. I want income. The teacher said I want school, but they're not the ones that are going to pay my salary. They're not the ones that are going to make me money when I'm out of school. Who is? Okay, the world around me is my friends, my family, my peers, the businesses in my community, the people that the general public, those are the ones that I have to exchange with. I should ask them, what do they want and need? Because they might not say, hey, Jerry, I want to make sure you have a high school diploma in order for me to pay you something. Now, I'm not dissing education or saying don't go to school, but I'm saying that's the track we were taught. Go to school so that you can go to college, so that you can get a good job. Okay. Like just by survey in the comments, who here has at any point been hired from a job or fired from a job simply because they went to college or didn't go to college? Just by show of hands in the comments, or comment in the comments. Like, anyone ever had their job made or broken because they did or didn't go to college? Okay. I would love to see the results on that. Abraham says no. If AJ says no, then that means everybody is like automatically a no. You guys, if you know AJ knows what I mean. Like, if it's a no for AJ, it's a no for everybody. Like, nobody cares. Okay. So here's the thing, is on this topic of income, like, we have to really understand what's wanted and needed. Now, this is the kicker. What we think is wanted and needed is not what matters. It is what others think is wanted and needed. Okay, this idea of entitlement income, because I went to college, I should get a job. Because I went to work, we should get a job. Because I'm trading hours, I should be paid more. Because I keep showing up. No, 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 no. That's your opinion, but you don't pay your paycheck. Someone else does. So if that somebody else doesn't agree with you, then who cares? I talked to a good friend of mine last night. His dad and his family, they run a multi-$100 million family office, and he was saying when he was my age, his dad fired him from his company. Okay, father son, like they're and the son is making the company money. Like he was actually producing, he was bringing in money for the company, and then his dad fires him. And he was telling me, he's like, Dad, why? He's asking his dad, like, Dad, why did you fire me? Like I was working on all these projects. And his dad was like, I didn't tell you to do those. He's like, but why did you fire me? He's like, well, you didn't do the things I told you to do. He's like, yeah, well, I did this. He's like, I didn't tell you to do that. I made you more money. Yeah, but I didn't tell you to do that. I fixed this, and this problem. And his dad's like, yeah, but I didn't tell you to do that. So his dad didn't want to need any of the things he was producing. Therefore, he lost his job. Even though he thought he was doing a good job, even though he thought he was earning more income, even though he thought he was the most consistent guy there, even though he was producing all of the things that he personally would want to need in his viewpoint if he were his dad. But the problem was he's not his dad, right? So we have to learn how to sell, and to learn how to sell, it's simply getting things from people by exchanging with them, finding out what their wants and needs are and exchanging it with them. This gets violated so much in the traditional job world. It's, I want to work, so I have to go in and trade hours. Like, your employer doesn't want hours. I am an employer. I don't want your hours. Okay, if your hours don't produce, to me, that's actually a liability. I would rather not have that. Right? Or I see this even in the e-commerce business. Like, people just want a product. No, they don't just want a product. They want a good product that arrives on time, that has no issues, that does what they thought it would do at a good price. That's a lot more than just a product, right? So on to the next part here. And I'm going to review this again on this topic of income. So we talk supply and demand. I also want to talk again about the triangle of income. Okay. So we have the triangle of income. Guys, this is economics 101. So we have knowledge at the top. We have value over here. And then we have exchange. I'm going to hit this one briefly because we've gone over it before. For those of you that are new, again, it's the triangle of income. So we're trying to earn income, and there are 3 points to this triangle of earning income. Knowledge, I've got to know stuff. Okay. I've got to know stuff. Then I've also got to be valuable. Okay. And then I've also got to exchange with people. So we just talked about college. I went to college. I know stuff. Great. Doesn't mean I'm valuable. Okay. Here's the thing with value. Value is subjective. So it goes back to the supply and demand thing. What do they think is valuable? Not what do I think is valuable? What do they think is valuable? Okay. And so for me to actually be valuable, I have to find out what they think is valuable and then produce it. Okay. So if I'm thinking about how to earn more income, again, let's visit some real life scenarios. If I'm trying to start a business, I shouldn't start the business that I want to be in. I should look at what are industries and areas that I like. Yes, but where are the problems at? Because if I can solve the problems, I'm valuable. Okay, so I've got to know about the industry, and I've also got to understand the problems in the industry so that I can solve them and be valuable, so that I can then show somebody that I can solve their problem in exchange. A lot of people, they think, oh, I know something, now the money should show up. No, it's not how it works. Or they know something and now they're valuable, now the money should show up. No, you still have to physically exchange. You have to get into communication with somebody on some form or method of email or call or person-to-person visit in order to make the exchange happen. Now, the exchange could happen in a myriad of ways. We've talked about this before too. At the very lowest level, I can exchange my time. That's the lowest level you can be, exchanging time. The reason why is your time is your life and you only have so much of it. And so for me to say I need to go make $2 million and I'm going to do it by exchanging my time, depending on my hourly rate, and it's probably going to be depressing to do the math on, but I could divide and figure out the math. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So if I am trying to earn $2 million so that I can save, 400, 500,000, me see if I can get my calculator to pull up here so that I can invest, then I have to really understand the math here on how to do that. And we have to understand the math here on if it's sales, how many sales do I have to make? If it's clients, how many clients do I have to close? If it's hours, how many hours do I have to work? Right? So check this out. If I need to make 2 million bucks, 2 million, and let's say that I get paid, let's say I work a good job and I get paid 50 bucks an hour. That is 40,000 hours. 40,000 hours. Let's say I'm working 40 hours a week. That's 1,000 weeks. Okay. How many years is that divided by 52 weeks? That's 19 years. So if I am making, 50 bucks an hour and my income goal is to have $2 million cumulatively so that I can save this much and invest this much and be financially free, it's going to take me 19 years to do that. So it's not real for me to just trade time for money. Now, what's even worse is salaried. Okay, so let's say that I make a salary of $100,000 a year. I don't even get paid hourly, right? A salary of $100,000 a year. So if I divide that by 100,000, it's still 20 years. At least on hourly, I can work more hours, right? On salary, I can't even do that. I'm freaking capped. I can't make more money because I'm capped. That's the point of a salary. A salary is for employers that are profitable enough to pay you enough so that you don't get paid more than they need to pay you. Okay. So here's the deal. Like I have to be looking at this because when I was told to go to college, it was to get a salary job. No one told me to go to college so that I could get a commission job. It was get a salary job. Now here's the other thing too, right? If I'm on a commission job, let's say that my average commission is $2,000, right? And I'm still trying to earn 2 million bucks. That's 1,000 things that I need to sell. Okay. So if I'm making $2,000 a pop, I need to sell 1,000 things to make 2 million bucks. Right. So I have to be good at sales. That is the difference here. If I'm good at sales, I'm going to sell those 1,000 things rapidly. If I'm bad at sales, it's going to take me more time. Okay. But at least I can sell something other than my time. So this is important. Nobody went over this with me. I had to figure this out on my own. And this is stuff like game changing. I see this clicking for people in the comments. So you do have to sell and you do have to exchange. You can exchange time. You can exchange a product. You can exchange a service. You can exchange an idea. This is the other thing that I want to go over because all of these have repercussions. There's cause and effect with everything. So when I look at, let me clear my drawings again on this. So when I look at selling something, there's different types of things I can sell. I can sell a commodity. Okay. I can sell a service. I can sell access. Oop, let me erase that, make that a little cleaner for you guys. I can sell access to something. Or I can sell results. Okay. Again, this is just what I came up with. So if you have other categories, that's great. But these are the ones I look at. So I can sell a commodity, right? So if I have a commodity, what does that mean? Like commodity, I sell gold bullion. I sell silver bullion. That's a freaking commodity. Anybody, you can buy it anywhere. There's no difference between any of it. And so it's a commodity. Okay. If I sell real estate, if I'm a realtor, that is a commodity. If I sell mortgages, that is a commodity. Because anyone can sell it. It's all the same thing. There's no difference. If I sell life insurance, that's a commodity, right? So if I'm selling a commodity, that's a volume game. I have to sell lots of it because nobody's going to pay more for something if they can buy it less elsewhere, right? If it's just a commodity, like if I sell real estate, for example, it's freaking the same price no matter who I use. So what happens is if I want to sell more of this, I either have to have a bigger mass of people that I'm marketing and advertising to, or I have to make myself unique. So there's going to be a primary one of these, and there's also going to be a secondary one of these. The secondary one of these is what somebody will use to compensate and make themselves unique on the first one. So let's say that I sell cars. Okay, my client Zach is watching. He sold cars for a while. I sell cars. There's nothing unique about a car. A car is a car is a car is a car is a car. I can buy a car anywhere. I can go to any dealership in any city, in any state, and buy a car in any country. I can buy them online now. So it is a commodity. That's why when you go in and you buy a car, people look at the MSRP and they look at, well, what is that over the retail sticker price? And like, what is the markup that I'm paying? Okay. So that's a commodity. So if I'm selling cars and I'm like, man, I need to get more people to buy cars from me, but they could buy it anywhere, I'm going to say, okay, well, let me look at one of these other areas to differentiate myself to sell more of it. This can be a good thing or a bad thing, right? So I want you to realize if I sell a commodity, the downside is everyone has it, but the good side is there's no work involved other than just delivering it to them. Amazon is in the commodity business. Easiest job in the world because people know Amazon. So they just ship it to your door. Boom, they're done. They don't have to come service you or talk to you or do anything, right? So that's the plus side. But if I'm starting to look at how do I earn more income selling a commodity, then I have to add one of these other things in. So let's say that I pick service. Okay. This is where people go wrong. I pick service. Not only do you get a car, but you get the best service in the world. I will do everything you ask. I will cover your needs head to toe, answer your questions, come to your house, jump on a call whenever you need it. They'll buy, but guess what? As I sell more of these, I also sell more of this, servicing, and I make no money on this. Right? So now I have to take a low margin product like a car and make it cover the cost of not just the car doing business and that job, but also now servicing people. So you'll see people compensate with like, I have to service. Okay, this is important to know because you have to be proactive in deciding how to go about this. Now, the other thing I could do here, and by the way, this is also e-commerce. Right? E-commerce. Everyone can sell e-commerce now. So if I have an e-commerce store, it does not mean I'm going to earn income. I'm selling a commodity. My competition is Amazon. Right? So what am I doing above and beyond just an e-commerce store to make money? This is why a lot of e-commerce stores flop. Because it's like, yeah, I sell pogo sticks because that's what's hot and what's trending. Good. When it's no longer trending, you don't have a product anymore. Okay. Now let's say that I do have a service business. If I have a service business and I'm selling consulting, okay, or I'm selling web development, right? That's a service. I'm selling Facebook digital marketing. That's a product that immediately I'm going to start trading time for money because I can only do what I can service. I can only sell what I can service. So my income becomes capped. Again, I have a primary and a secondary. This might be my primary, but in order to get a secondary that's not involving my time, how do I add another product? And that's where I'm going to add results or access or commodities or whatever it might be. Right? So let's say that I choose access. Not only will I develop your website, but you get access to information that I have that no one else has, or you get access to a community, or you get access to something that has to be valuable. You guys seeing this? Because otherwise I'm going to keep selling $3,000 consulting packages that I have to service. And I'm only going to have so much time in my life to do that. And now I've bought myself a job. So I have to sell access or results or something else, right? These can flip-flop either way. Now, what I learned, guys, and this is my favorite one to do, this is how my business is built, is I sell results and access. I don't sell, and I mentioned I have a commodities business with the bullion. That's just because I like bullion. But my main business is not that, okay? I sell results and access. Now, what I did is I had a commodity called life insurance. You can go buy life insurance from anybody. Okay. But they're not going to design it correctly. That's access. And it can't do what I can make it do. That's results. So when my clients sign up with me, they're buying the result, which means that it has no requirements on my time. It has no service requirement. It doesn't mean I'm not going to service them, but it's not like I'm compensating because you could have got this anywhere and I feel bad about it. So I'm going to over service you now. Right. It's no. You bought, tax planning. I reduced your tax bill. I had a client yesterday paid me $2,000 for tax planning. Might sound like a lot till you find out that I saved him $7,000 in taxes. That's a 300% return on his money. That's results. Okay. And then I also give him access. Hey, you can have access to my CPA network. You have access to Wealth Dynamics University. You have access to our study calls, right? So these are things that I've added in. So for me, what I learned when I started going through this is I want to have a results business with access. I don't want to be in a servicing business. I've done that before. I don't want to be servicing and coaching and consulting and doing that because it turns into a job. I also don't want to be a commodity because as soon as somebody finds something cheaper, they're going to go there because it's a commodity, right? Now, the unintended benefit that I saw, guys, is when I started doing this and I started delivering real results and people got access to something that was truly valuable and unique, they were more willing to do stuff with me here. The bullion business, you can go anywhere online and Google cheap bullion. You probably will find it. I have clients though that do business with me because they know that it ties into this, and overall they get better results and they get better access with me. And so I end up getting that with them too. Okay. The service I don't sell for. I don't sell service. I would never sell service. I'll give you the service free. Okay. Like that's not something I want to sell. So it's important to realize this, because when you start thinking about how do I increase my income, this is what I did. I was just desperate for a check. So I was willing to do whatever. So I was like, well, I don't have real estate. I don't have gold. I didn't want to go work at a car dealership. So initially I was like, yeah, my best asset is me. And so I'm not going to do any of this stuff. I'm going to do servicing. And so I started with a service-based business, and it quickly turned into a job, and it quickly reminded me that I don't like jobs. Right. And if I'm trying to get to a $2 million income goal, I can't have it as a job. We just looked at how that doesn't work. When I'm at an hourly rate, it's going to take me 20 years to get there at $50 an hour. Okay. If I can make $100 an hour, it's still going to take me 10 years. And that's just to earn the income. That's not even the investing, guys. So you got to think about this stuff. Like, and again, I didn't go to college, right? This is stuff I learned by doing an observation. Okay. Onward to the next part of this chapter. So as we're going through this, a couple things. This is my book again that we're reading from, How to Create Wealth. If you would like a copy of this, you can go to jerryfetta.com and grab a copy. If you have it, follow along. We're still on page 14. I promise we'll get through more of this. But this is the thing, guys. Like, all of this stuff is simple, but look how much is in it. Look how much I can teach about simple concepts like this. That means that it's profound. There's so much to learn there. So the idea that I saw it once, read it once, and I'm done really doesn't make any sense. So a couple questions that I want you to ask yourself when you get into the sales position. Number one, is there margin? Meaning, how profitable is it when I do it? For me in my bullion business, there's not margin. I make 3%. Okay. That's not very much money. So that means that if I sell $100 in bullion, I made $3, right? So there's not a ton of margin there. I do that business because it's fun, right? But if I look at, like some of my other businesses, there's a lot more margin on those. And so I do those because they're more profitable. So I need to ask, is there margin? Realize if there's not, then I have to do a lot more. The volume has to go, which is the next question. Is there volume? Is there a big, large pool of business? It's almost like asking, is it scalable? Okay. Like earlier this year, earlier this year in June, April, May, June, the new business was for everybody online was selling COVID masks. You guys remember that? Okay. COVID masks quickly became the new Forex and the new Bitcoin. Everyone was going to sell COVID masks. Okay. I don't see any posts about it anymore because it wasn't scalable. There was not volume there. Okay. So when we look at this, is there margin? Is there volume? Is it ethical? This is the next one. And that's a personal viewpoint. Is it ethical? There are certain businesses I could not get into because it wasn't ethical. I couldn't do real estate because I didn't think it was ethical. I didn't think a single family home was a good idea financially. So it wasn't ethical for me, from my own viewpoint, to convince somebody else to buy that. Okay. If you do, that's different. Like, everyone's ethics are their own ethics. It's your own personal viewpoint. For me, I couldn't. Selling cars, I couldn't do that because I didn't like that I had a car payment. And I was like, man, this car payment holds me down. So I couldn't get behind selling cars. Pharmaceuticals, I could have made a ton of money being a pharmaceutical rep, but I don't believe in pharmaceuticals. I think drugs are primarily meant to poison people and to mess them up mentally and get them hooked. So I couldn't sell pharmaceuticals, even though there's probably great money there. So that's the third thing we've got to run this through. Fourth is, who is the leader? Okay. Who is the leader? There are two types of people here, guys. There are types of people that are going to be the startup. Okay. They're going to be the initial combustion that gets the business going, and they don't need anyone else's help until they get the business going. Okay. There are other people that are going to be the sustainer. They're going to keep the fuel running through the lines. They might not be able to combust, but if they weren't there, the business couldn't run. Right. So this idea of be your own boss, be your own boss. Some of us honestly would make the worst bosses in the world for ourselves because we're not combustion people. Okay. We're sustaining people. Like, get us plugged into your back end on the business and we will make sure the thing scales and runs. Okay. Some of us are combustion people. We're only good at starting things. We're not good at sustaining things. Okay. So when I look at who is the leader, if I'm a combustion type person, I want the startup, then I'm probably not going to go get a job because I'm going to hate a job. And I am that person, right? Like I've had jobs. It was like freaking just like itching under my skin. Like I got to get out of here. It's like just insanely like out of my world to work for somebody. Okay. But I need somebody like Lexi. I need somebody like Nano. I need someone like Ari and people on my team that are good at sustaining the business, keeping it going. They understand how to be like the endurance athlete, how to run and how to make things like continue. Okay. So if you look at Steve Jobs, he was similar startup, but he had to have Wozniak and these other guys. So if I'm that guy and I look at who's leading the charge, it probably does need to be me, or it needs to be a partner who's similar so that we get along and don't butt heads. Right. Vice versa. If I'm more of the sustenance for the business, I'm not the startup or the combustion, but I can make the thing run and scale, then it's probably not a good idea that I start my own company because I don't have the combustion. If I did, it would have already happened. Okay, so I should go become a partner or an executive or an employee that again has a variable compensation model, meaning I can earn more money based on my productivity. So I would look at that. I would look at which one am I? Which business am I interested in? Who is leading the charge? Where do I fit? Okay, am I the one that's going to start it up, or is it already started and I'm going to make sure that the fuel runs through the lines and gets where it needs to go? Okay, and there's no shame in either one. Like I want to bust this myth is that you have to be the business owner and you have to start it up and you're looked at as inferior if you don't. Like that's stupid. That is stupid. Look at the largest institutions in the world. Nobody knows who the CEO is, right? But it doesn't matter. The CEO makes money, the COO makes money, the executives make money. Like you go to like look at JP Morgan, for example, as a company, I guarantee you all of their high level employees make good money. And they don't care if they were the guy that started it because JP Morgan has been dead for a long time. It doesn't matter. They were able to plug into a system that he started. He combusted and got it going, but they kept it going. So that's so important. Now on to the next chapter here. So I want to give you guys a couple of tips. Okay. So we're earning more income on this topic. You can earn more income by exchanging for it. You can also earn more income by getting back income you've already earned that you're spending. The money's going out the door and you want to keep it. Okay. So I want to talk about this next. And if you're a client of mine, you already know this, but it's called Diddy. Debt, insurance, taxes, and investment. So if I'm trying to earn more income, then I initially do need to get more income coming in. Right? Like that's an exchange activity. Like we talked about, supply and demand. I can't supply my own demand. So I do need to have that going on, but I can look at my own accounting and decide how am I spending money now and can I reduce that? So debt, insurance, taxes, and investments is where we start with this. And this is after you're earning more income because it's not going to make you the $2 million you need. Right? But if I'm paying in debts, I can reduce all my debts down to the minimum payment. That frees up money. Okay. And then I can put that in my sacred account, pay off my debt. That's a whole nother story, but I've freed up money by doing that. Insurance, I can cut costs there. I can shop for lower premiums. I can increase deductibles. I can switch to an annual billing mode. These are all things that are going to help me save costs there. Okay. Taxes, I can reduce my taxes. I can take deductions on my itemized. I can take Schedule C deductions. I can change my W-4 at work. I can put money in an HSA, an IRA, a 401k, a cash balance plan, all sorts of places to reduce my taxes, right? So that's another way that I can save and keep more of the income I'm already earning. Next one is investments. Guys, if I'm trying to become financially free, it makes no sense to give Wall Street my money. Halt the 401k. Stop putting money in the IRA. If it's not self-directed, meaning the money ultimately goes to you, then you don't need to be doing it because the fees are so insanely large and massive over time that it's not a profitable activity. And you need that money now. Okay. So that's investments. Okay. There's two more that I'm going to give you. I kind of already hit the first one. Any bills that you can pay annually, do it. If you can get a discount by paying annually, that's going to free up money. The other one that I want to go to is unclaimed.org. So if you go to unclaimed.org, so you guys can all see it. I know it's backwards for Instagram, but unclaimed.org. This is your state unclaimed property registry. So if you had checks, compensation, money that you were supposed to get but couldn't be delivered to you, your state holds it for you as unclaimed property. Meaning that if you go on your state website through the unclaimed.org registry, you can go find those and claim them and get them. Okay. I've had clients that find a couple hundred, a couple thousand, you know, that they weren't expecting, that now they have back in as income. And that's not repeatable, but it is again, like a quick influx, right? So that's going to help you earn more income. Now, on this final chapter, we've got about 5 minutes before I open up for questions. So on this final chapter, chapter 6 in my book, this is on how to increase income. Okay. So this is going to be page 19. And this talks about how to actually increase the income. So this starts by saying the average millionaire has a minimum of 7 income streams. So I want you to realize that at some point you will need to add another income stream. Okay. If I am a W-2 employee and I have no upward mobility in my company and I'm just capped out, that second income stream is going to need to happen now. I'm going to say that again. If I'm a salary employee and I have not very much money that I can increase by, I'm capped, there's nowhere else I can go, then that second stream has to come in now. I need to add a side hustle. Does not mean that I quit my job. It means I keep the job, I suck it up. Okay. Because as soon as I say this, people are like, I need to quit my job. I need to get out. I hate this job. And they start itching and scratching and trying to get out. No. Keep the job. Don't be a wimp. Keep it. Okay. Because it is paying the bills. But let's get a side hustle started and let's get it built up to the point where it can buy you out of the job. We've talked about this before as well. Okay. Now, if you're a business owner or a salesperson, do not add a side hustle. It will be the worst decision you make. Okay. If I'm selling, let's say that I am Nano, my employee Nano gets paid commission to work with us. If Nano were doing this and then he's also like, I'm going to go sell cars, both of them will do poorly. Right? Because it's the same effort and energy to sell and market and prospect and follow up. So it's about, if I'm in sales or if I'm a business owner, I don't want to add another income stream. I want to push harder on the one that I have. Later on, I'll add them, but they're going to be passive income streams. So that's important. So the steps on this, on determining, do I need to add one or not, is number one, where does your income come from now? Okay. What is your primary income source now? Okay. So that's the first question. Second question you need to ask yourself, is there something parallel to this that I already do? Okay, the thing with income is, again, it's an exchange. We're trading. So I'm either trading time, or I'm trading skill, or I'm trading work, or I'm trading a product, or I'm trading a service or an idea or a result or something of that nature. Depending on what I'm trading, it's going to take more or less effort, right? So if I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, well, I work this job and I'm trying to find a parallel source. If it's sales, the parallel source is just do more of the sales that I have. Right now, if it's something different, let's say I do have a W-2 job and I'm like, hey, I need to earn more income. The parallel source first would be a conversation with my boss. Hey, I love working here. I'm trying to increase my income and I have financial goals. And instead of getting a side hustle, which might, take away time and make me less committed to this job, is there something I can do here to earn more income? Give them the chance. You'd be surprised. I had a client 2 years ago in the oil business. And I coached him through this conversation, and he walked into his boss's office 2 hours later, walked out with a $30,000 pay raise and $15,000 in retroactive pay. So don't tell me like, oh, bosses don't give raises. I just told you, I coached the guy through a $45,000 raise that he got in literally less than an hour. Okay, so it is possible. But again, that's the first conversation, because the comparable magnitude is, I have the job and then I quit it and then I no longer have an income, or I have the job and I add the side hustle and it actually turns out to be more work than I can manage. So try and get the income up at the job first. And you have to, again, know the triangle of income. Like, in order for me to do that, I have to have some knowledge that makes me valuable so that I can do that exchange. Realize your boss is not in business for no reason. He's in business because he wants to expand. And if he could expand to the level that he wanted to be, he would not still be there. So if he's still there, it means he's not expanding where he wants to be at yet, which means somebody is not covering that role for him in the company, which means it's openly available, which means if you have the knowledge, value, and exchange, you can go get it. But it's a communication cycle. Okay. So this is so important to get, because what I see happen is people either they just quit. Like, they're like, I just can't earn more income. I'm done. I'm going to settle and I'm just going to work my job and be happy and retire when I'm 60. Or they do the craziest stuff. They quit. They're like, Jerry, I quit my $100,000 a year job so I can try and sell trash cans. It's like, well, why would you do that? Why? That does not make, like, keep the $100,000 job. And if you really want to sell trash cans also until it pays you more than 100 grand. All right, rant over. So that's our second step is find an income source that's parallel to what you do already, and then immediately economize and increase. So increase the income and then don't spend any of the extra money. Increase the income and do not spend any of the extra money. My client Dan is watching. He's excellent at this. When he gets money, I'm probably the second person he texts after his wife. Hey, got money? Where can we put it? How can we turn this into passive income? Because the idea, guys, is as you're growing the income, you're investing it for passive income. You're incrementally buying your time back so that you don't have to keep trading time for money. And if I want to get there faster, I've got to earn more and I've got to save and invest and do all that stuff. But it starts with the income. So that's what I have for you today. What I want to do is I want to open this up for questions. I know we covered a lot here today. I appreciate everyone's interaction here. Let me check Instagram first and answer questions here. They have a limited timer, and they also don't get my background or my or my whiteboard. So it's kind of like watching me talk in front of just a green screen, which is hard to do. I appreciate everyone. All right, questions on Instagram. Let's see what we have here. Okay, Steve says, can I open a sacred account with $2,000? Steve, you can. That would definitely work. You can put that into something called a sacred account light. If you'd like to get some information about that, send me a DM and I can set you up with Nano Aquino. He is my sales and marketing manager. He can help you get your questions answered and get you set up with an account. I am literally being catcalled on Instagram tonight, being hit on by numerous people, which is awkward. Okay, so someone says, no, it's taken. You're really hitting so much reality with me today. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Can I please be in the live? Sorry, nope. There's no guarantee that you are clothed, and I'm not about to look at the possibility of that not being the case. I got asked for my phone number. Quizno, is Facebook better than the live IG? Facebook is better than the Instagram live. Instagram, we really put it up because I have a decent following. We want to give you guys the content, but the quality is definitely better on Facebook. Okay, I have a question. I'm a kid. How do I invest? Because I want to own a business when I get older. Depending on what age you are, you may or may not be able to. So if you're under 18, a lot of times you can't do investments yet. So you might need to partner up with a parent or a guardian or somebody that's an adult that could qualify for you. And that would help you get there. But really, if your goal is to invest in a business or own a business, you don't need to invest money into owning a business. I would invest money in knowledge and ability. So I would look at courses, books, tune into our stuff. We do these every week, and that'll help you get there. I'm a senior in high school. What advice would you give me? Work, man. Go out like this summer, get a job. This fall, this spring, as soon as you can, go earn an income and go learn sales. None of your teachers are going to tell you that. None of your peers are going to tell you that, but it's important. And it's something that if you can learn sales, you literally can go anywhere you want to go in life. Teach me how to start on real estate. We do have courses on that. I'm not going to be able to teach you all of that tonight, but if you tune in again next week, I definitely can. All right, that's all we have for Instagram. So Instagram, we're going to log off. Again, we do these courses every week, same time. So it's 7 p.m. Pacific. If you missed out tonight, the replay will be up. I'll see you guys next time. Okay, let me go ahead and answer our questions on Facebook. Justin, great to see you. Brad, great to see you. Aaron, good to see you. Aaron says, how many accountants have degrees and never got a public accounting job? I own an accounting firm and I don't have a degree. So I don't know. I didn't need one. Again, it's what role are you filling? Are you trying to be an employee or an owner there? If you're an owner, you don't need a degree to own a CPA firm or an accounting firm. How can you become an accountant but become a salesperson for them later on. You have to find a firm that will pay you for business. Law firms and accountant firms classically do not like to pay commissions. It's just the way they're designed. They bill out hours on your behalf, meaning you're literally trading the time for money. And then the owners will take that and they don't pay you if you bring in new work. They pay you for whatever your hourly wage is. So you have to find an accounting firm that actually understands like business development and they understand sales and they're willing to pay you for that. I pay all of my employees commission when they close sales, regardless of what their role is. If it's, whether it's a sale or a lead, if they're producing in their role, they're going to get commission of some sort. And I don't see that a lot in accounting firms or law firms. What's up, Josue? Good to see you. Kevin, good to see you. Dan, good to see you. Kevin says, I needed to hear this. Awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, Pharaoh says, do you believe we all have a daily minimum work obligation to ourselves? For example, how long could we go without eating, aka feeding ourselves? At a certain point, we have to go find food, aka go work for it. What would you say is our minimum obligation is in per day? I don't think I totally understand that question. If you're financially free, you don't have to go, like, eating doesn't mean you go work. It means you go to the kitchen. So I think it depends on how much surplus you have. You, like, how solvent are you? And if you're to the point where it literally is trading time for money, we have something called the scale of wealth, and it talks about the different levels of trading time for money. If I'm at the point of broke where my time traded equals my money, then yeah, like if I'm hungry, I do need to go work. But if I'm further up that scale, then I don't have to because I have some surplus. If I'm all the way up this scale, I never have to because my income shows up whether I work or not. So there's going to be no time obligation at all there. So that would be my best answer there. Good question, though. Again, if you guys have questions, throw them down in the comments. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. Okay, Marcy says, out of 3,000 people, I have worked with only 3 that have asked for my credentials, and that was after they were already clients. Exactly. Nobody cares. So when I was 18, I got into the financial industry. Okay, I'm 28 now. I'm very good at what I do, and so nobody asked me about my age. But at the time, I was very concerned about that. I was like, well, I'm 18, and these people are in their 40s and their 50s and their 60s. Like how am I gonna have any influence and clout with them? And at the time, my manager, he was like, Jerry, when Tiger Woods was 18, he signed a multi-million-dollar shoe contract with Nike. Do you think they cared how old he was? And I was like, no. And they're like, do you think they cared what college he went to? I was like, no. Do you think they cared what degrees he had? No, he was good at golf. So that's what I realized, to Marcy's point. Like, if you're good enough at your thing, and this goes back to the triangle of income, it's knowledge, it's value, and exchange. If I'm knowledgeable and valuable enough, I can exchange with everybody. Doesn't matter what college I went to, none of that stuff matters. Zach says, I got my job because I worked at a dealership for a year. Awesome. Nano says, this is the exact information you taught during my financial blueprint as a client that planted the seed that I should come work with you. That's awesome. That was not even intentional. I actually told Nano not to. I remember telling Nano, don't leave your first flow. But Nano does what Nano wants, and it's been great. Is it ethical? Can I make enough money? Can I scale it out? Is the right leadership in place? By the fact that you had some things financially speaking that I did not have, and the push you were doing, it seems like it's only increased. It was like something I needed to be around. Yeah, that is something you would be able to observe. And from Nano's comment, like anyone that's watching, you're going to be able to see it. Like when it's the right business or job or opportunity to plug into, you're going to be able to see it. What Nano did that most people wouldn't do. Nano lived in Dallas. I lived in Anchorage, Alaska. Nano moved from Dallas to Anchorage on his own dime. Sold his car, sold his apartment, got rid of everything, brought his dog to Alaska. So Nano saw the opportunity. He knew that he could get the knowledge. He knew that he could get the value, and he knew that he could exchange there. And so he did what he needed to do to get there. A lot of people would look at, well, is that job going to pay for my relocation expenses, or what's the guarantee? In fact, when he started, he knew he was making less money than he was going to pay his bills. Like, he looked at his starting salary. He knew that was less than his monthly bills, and he started anyways because he's betting on himself. right? Like that's really what it comes down to is if somebody can't bet on themselves, why am I going to bet on them? If I'm in the position again of supply and demand, I want to be financially free. I've got to earn the income. I've got to make it happen. If I can't bet on myself, then how is anyone else going to help supply me? Right. So it really starts there. Excellent comments, Nano. Um, okay. Question about this. Can you turn services into results and then increase price or volume on the quadrant? You definitely could. So you can always increase pricing and volume, but the increase is going to have to come through an exchange of something. So I increase my prices on a commodity, then I have to give them more of the actual product. Okay. If I increase my price on the service, I have to give them either more volume of service or better quality of service. And actually has to be something that they want, right? If it's access, I can give them prolonged access. I can give them access to more things. I can give them more exclusive access. But again, it's got to be something that's actually wanted and needed. And then lastly, results. Like the reason I love the results-based business is because I just have to make you more than I cost you. Tax planning. If it costs you $2,000 and I make you $2,100, it was a good idea. Like that's why I love that business. So really what it comes down to is which one are you selling? If it's the results one, there's probably the least compromise there. Like as long as you are making in proportion to what you're increasing results to actually justify it, it's a no-brainer, right? And it also takes the least of your time. I can make people hundreds of thousands of dollars with investments that take me no time because the investment does it. So that would be my answer there, but you definitely could scale the price. Keith says, good stuff for accountant, consultant, and provide solutions. Sell yourself by serving others. Exactly. Results, that actually could be a form of results too. Marcy says they're going to judge you based on what they see and based on what you produce. Exactly. Or based on their own dislikes about themselves, which you can't do anything about. You just ignore that and keep going. That's the other category there. Good questions, everybody. Let me go back to Facebook and see what else we have. Pharaoh says, I dig the surplus comment. We scale out of it. Awesome. Aaron asks, can you explain the wealth triangle a bit more? Because value is a part of exchange. That's where I'm getting confused. No. So value is not part of exchange. So basically, value has potential value or it has recognized value, right? This water could potentially be valuable for me if I'm thirsty and I drink it and I have it. Okay. But if it's not something I'm thirsty for and I don't drink it and I don't have it, then it doesn't have value. That's potential value. Okay. But I'm not going to realize it till I take a swig. So for me to say I've got knowledge and value, therefore, like the exchange is there, that's not true. I have to make the exchange happen. The exchange happens when I bring one particle to meet the other, right? This person shakes hands with that person. Potentially they could be valuable to each other, but they aren't actually valuable to each other till they meet, right? So that's what I would say there, Aaron, is you actually have to have exchange. I would actually look up the definition of exchange if I were you, clear that, and make sure you really understand the difference between that and value because they're totally separate things. That's a really good question. I think a lot of people probably were wondering that or have wondered that and didn't know that they were wondering that. Josue says we have to figure out how to eventually separate time from money. Exactly. That's super true, Josue. Pharaoh says leap of faith, separate price from product. Do this first in your mind and then in real life. Starbucks sells the same. Good. I don't like Starbucks' coffee though, so we'd have to use a different example there. Okay, let me see if we have any other questions here online. If you guys have any further questions, drop them in the comments. We have one here from Matt. He says, most of my customers, I charge a decent hourly rate, but when it comes to friends and family, I tend to lower my rate. How should I approach them professionally to charge my normal hourly rate? I would just let them know, like, because here's the thing is they're thinking, Matt, you're my boy, give me a discount, right? You have every right to think, Jerry, you're my boy, pay full price. Matt, do me a solid, give me a discount. Jerry, do me a solid, pay a full price like everyone else does. So for me, I don't discount prices. I'll add more, like I said, I'll add more other things, but I will never lower my price. Never, because I've set my pricing for a reason. So Matt, for you, it could be, you could be selling a new number of those things. There's the service aspect, there's the result aspect, There's a commodity aspect. For yours, it's probably access that you're missing. And your friends and family probably feel like they have that. They're like, yeah, we could call Matt anytime we want to. Right. So that's the problem, is that's not valuable to them. So you've got to look at, no, like you got to tell them, no, I can't give you any more money. Like, I'm giving you the best price I have, but I could add more of service. I could give you a better result. I could give you, extra product, like something like that. But for me personally, like, I don't have a lot of my family that are clients of mine. So for me early on, I realized like my family love them to death, but they're going to nickel and dime me. And a lot of them, like if they do business with me at all, are going to expect a discount, which I wasn't going to give. So I kept my price high to this day. I've got siblings that have never done business with me, and that's totally fine. If they need help, I'll help them, but that's okay. So I would say, like, understand why your pricing is your pricing. And if you're lowering it, it might mean you don't totally understand why your pricing is your pricing. Because if you understand it, then that's why you don't lower it. You're like, no, these are my numbers. These are based off something. Again, the 2 million number. If I lower my pricing, yeah, Sally, sister Sally, I give you a discount, but that's 3 more years of my life that I have to trade time for money for now. Okay. So Keith has a suggestion here. He says, ask them why they want to cost you lost opportunities by serving them and not others. That's a good way to, that's maybe a blunt way to do it, Keith. You could ask that. Keith is basically saying, ask them, like get them to realize that you could be serving your other clients full-time at full price. And if they're your family, they would want what's best for you. Why would they be asking you to lose money to work with them? You'd probably have to word that in the politically correct way, depending on who it is. But that's basically what Keith is saying. And he's totally right. So like when it comes to pricing, like pricing is pricing, right? Pricing is all made up. Okay. And you can go get a price cheaper somewhere else. At the end of the day, if they want to work with you and they think you're valuable and you have knowledge and you exchange, like you'll make the pricing whatever you need it to be, and you'll be able to sell that. And again, it comes down to like supply and demand and understanding their wants and needs. If their wants and needs are just a discount, I don't supply that. Right. So that's what I would say there. Very good question though. All right. I think that is all the questions we have tonight. Let me go ahead and check Zoom one more time and see what we have. Yeah, I think that's it. So guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, get this out. If you don't have a copy of my book, get one, How to Create Wealth by Jerry Fetta. You can go to jerryfetta.com and get that. Don says, thanks once again. My time is well spent. Another Friday evening filled with valuable information. That is literally what it's about. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a great, I call it Red Friday, not Black Friday, because most people bleed on Black Friday. It's red. So I hope you guys had a great Black Friday or Red Friday, however you want to look at it. I will talk to you next week. If you had questions, reach out to my team and I. We're happy to answer those for you, and we will see you next time.